You know that feeling, right? That specific kind of panic.
Oh, I know it well.
You walk into a conference room, maybe a server closet, 5 minutes before a big presentation.
Oh.
You've got an old laptop, some legacy hardware.
And it only speaks VGA.
Exactly. But the giant, shiny display on the wall, that only speaks HDMI.
It's the classic problem. The analog sunset meeting the digital dawn. They're just, from different worlds.
Right, and that's usually when I start digging through my bag for a random dongle that probably doesn't work. But today, we're doing a deep dive on a piece of kit that aims to fix this for good.
We are.
We're looking at the Key Digital KD VCS500. It's a video converter and scaler.
And that second word, scaler, is really doing a lot of the heavy lifting here.
So that's the mission for this deep dive then, to see if this little box can actually make those two worlds play nice.
And see if it's a real solution or just another adapter that's going to end up in the junk drawer.
Okay, so let's start with a basic translation. I think most people remember VGA, that blue connector, the trapezoid shape, the little screws. But it's video only. It doesn't carry any sound. So if I just adapt the video pins, I'm basically watching a silent movie.
You are, and that's the first major friction point. The KD VCS500 acts as a merger, really.
How so?
You plug in the VGA for your video, but then you also plug in a standard 3.5 millimeter audio jack, like an old headphone cable.
Okay, so you've got two separate inputs going into the box.
Exactly. And inside, the hardware takes that analog audio and digitally embeds it right into the HDMI signal.
So it's essentially multiplexing them into one single stream.
That's a perfect way to put it. It marries the audio and video. So on the output side, you just run one HDMI cable to your TV, and you get both sound and picture. Cleans up the whole mess.
That handles the connection part. But let's circle back to that word you highlighted, scaler. This is where I get a little skeptical. Why do I need active scaling? Why can't I just use a $10 passive adapter?
Because geometry matters a lot. If you take an old low-res analog signal and just stretch it to fit a 1080p screen, it almost always looks awful.
Yeah, you get that fuzzy, blocky stretches of doom.
Precisely. Or the aspect ratio gets warped. Or sometimes the TV just gives up and says no signal because it doesn't even recognize what you're sending it.
Okay, so this device is smarter than that.
It has an active scaling engine. It takes whatever resolution you feed it, no matter how messy, and it rebuilds the image. It forces the output to be a clean, standard 720p or 1080p signal that any modern TV can understand and display perfectly.
And I assume you have some control over that output.
You do, yeah. It's simple. There's just a little switch to toggle the output between 720p and 1080p, depending on what your screen likes best.
That's handy.
And they even put a little dual-color LED on the unit, so you can see which mode you're in at a glance. No digging through on-screen menus.
Speaking of what you feed into it, I was looking at the specs, and the input support goes way back. I mean, it lists 640 by 480. That's practically Windows 95 territory.
It is, but think about industrial settings. Manufacturing equipment, old server BIOS screens, even some medical devices still run at that resolution.
And they work just fine.
They work perfectly, but you can't buy a new monitor for them. This device supports everything from that 640 by 480 floor all the way up to a 1920 by 1080 input.
So it's a lifeboat. A lifeboat for expensive but old hardware.
That is a great way to put it. You don't have to replace a $50,000 machine just because the monitor died.
Okay, let's talk about the physical unit. If I'm trying to tuck this away behind a rack or a TV, space is usually pretty tight.
It's small, about 4.7 by 2.9 inches. Think maybe the size of a portable hard drive. It's a black plastic box, weighs less than a pound. It's designed to be zip-tied or stuck out of sight.
And unlike a simple cable, this thing needs juice, right? It's active.
It does. It has an external 5-volt power supply. You need that power to drive the scaling engine. Remember, it's actually processing pixels, not just passing them through.
All right, let's get to the elephant in the room, the price. I'm seeing this listed at $150.
Yeah.
That's a lot steeper than the generic converters I can find online.
It is. But you're paying for the Pro in Pro AV,
Yeah.
Those cheap dongles, they fail, they overheat, they introduce lag. This is commercial gear. It comes with a 3-year warranty from Key Digital. You're paying for reliability and for that scaling chip to do its job right every time.
Fair enough. Still, if you are picking one up, the notes did mention a code 10% off, so that takes a bit of the sting out.
Every little bit helps.
So to sum it all up, this KD VCS500 isn't really just an adapter. It feels more like a preservation tool.
I like that.
It stops you from having to scrap perfectly functional computers just because the ports don't match the new screens.
It prioritizes the content and the function over the age of the hardware.
So here's a thought to leave you with. We're moving so fast toward a world of just USB-C for everything or wireless casting. So are devices like this, the final guardians of that analog era? Or will we just always need a way to patch old systems into new ones?
As long as that old hardware still powers on and does its job, I think the need to connect it is going to stick around for a very long time.